Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everybody? It's Geoff Mosher, Adam Caplan. Inside the Birds is game podcast, and the Eagles win. And not only did the Eagles win, they beat a team that had a winning record, and they show up, Adam, in all three phases of the game. And this might be the first time since the season opener that we could say that about an Eagles win. And then the fact that it came against a pretty good team, too, might mean a lot. So we got a lot to recap here, but yeah, certainly we saw some good things on offense, saw some really good things on defense, especially by comparison, and special teams coming through with the big field goal block as well. So we have a lot to discuss. I'm happy for the Eagles fans because I think they just needed something to cling to. Like I even think an ugly Carolina Panther style victory wouldn't have been good enough for this fan base. I think that they needed to feel like they needed to see a good, convincing victory over a decent team. No Lions, no Panthers. They just wanted to see something that for the first time, I think they wanted to see not one part of the team carry the other part. Like all three parts of the team just show up, and that's what you got.
Yeah, no doubt. So this is just incredible to me. If you would have told me this at first, I would have said, "There's no way." They're 4-2 on the road. 4-2. Okay,
it's unbelievable.
And by the way, I know going into Week 10 Sunday, the away teams had a winning record on the road. Mm-hmm. This is just the story of the season. Just when you think you figured it out. Oh, by the way, kudos to anyone who picked against the ITB crew. We're 0-5, including Quentin Michael.
Yeah, we all picked the Broncos to win. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Vaughn, me, you, Cosell, and Q.
Yeah,
Q and Q's views, and of course the Q&A show. So we took the collar on that one. But you know what? You're right, and this was a real win in that Hurts was the best game as an Eagle by far. Okay, we'll get into some of the stuff we saw. So poised, the line was so good. The Eagles have a really good offensive line, by the way. They really do. They do. Sirianni's doing a good job with the offense. He really is. There's some things obviously you like. There's some things you like to have. Dallas Goedert getting hurt in the first quarter didn't help. There's your size as a skill position player is the one guy of size, but
right.
Explosiveness. Quez Watkins drops a beautiful pass. Hey, where they would have had 30 points in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So much to feel good about if you're an Eagles fan.
Yeah,
you do have hope. As Geoff said, all three phases great. My big picture is this was a total team win. This is not a fake win like the Lions game where the Lions are an abomination of a football team where they didn't show up. Yeah, the Eagles imposed their will, no doubt. But this is a real win against a good football team that's got more talent than they do, and they dominated on the road. This is a pillar-to-post game. This is super incredibly this is one you couldn't have made it up if you were told before the game.
Yeah, my big picture takeaway also on top of this is that the NFL is it's such a week-to-week league, right? Like this is the same Broncos team that embarrassed the Dallas Cowboys, and people were starting to wonder how good Dallas really is. And then Dallas bounces right back and embarrasses the hell out of the Falcons. And not only that, but if you even look within the game, Adam, this game was 30-13. The Eagles won by 17 points. It seems like complete domination. But to be fair, in the third quarter, the Broncos are marching. It's 20-13. They have an opportunity to get a field goal, maybe a game-tying touchdown. They're starting to run the ball well, and that's when Melvin Gordon fumbles. Darius Slay recovers it. Davion Taylor forced it. And then that touchdown really kind of put the Eagles in cruise control to the point where at the end of the game, it's a 17-point win, which, by the way, is even more impressive when we talked about on the pregame show. The last three times Eagles have gone out there, they've lost by an average of 28 points. So talk about a flip of the script. But, I don't leave this game thinking, man, the Eagles are just so much better than the Denver Broncos.
No,
that play right there was the difference between a game that might have been tied and who knows what direction it goes into to a 13-point victory or a 17-point victory, which is the NFL in a nutshell right there.
This just in from Action News. The Eagles have an identity. It's running the football.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, that is okay. I'm going to say it. That is their identity. This is good coaching. Everyone who knows who's been with us either from day one or has listened to us for a year knows I'm not a run game guy. I'm a pass game guy, but I agree with Sirianni in that they're doing what it takes to win the game, and it settles the quarterback down who needs a run game.
Yep.
Okay. and he plays well off of it. And by the way, the quarterback, who's the leading rusher, is part of that run game. Gets to the edges. We'll get into that, where there's clearly some things that we saw in this game that were very interesting. This is just their identity has to be the run the ball. When Sanders comes back, gives some juice to the run game. I just cannot wait to see what they do. They got a really tough game in 6 days from now. Today's Monday morning against the Saints. And by the way, they got a tiebreaker over Atlanta, over Carolina, and they could get it over the Saints if they win on Sunday.
Yeah, it's I've decided to not put too much into any one individual win or loss this year. And again, I tend to think there'll be that kind of sentiment this week in Philly, like this is a springboard, and now you see all these other games as very winnable. I don't think anything's changed other than the Eagles played a very clean game. They won a game, and that's good to see them get back in the win column. You mentioned the Saints; they've lost 2 in a row, but they've lost both games by 2 points with Trevor Siemian at their quarterback. So they're fighting hard. They're just falling a little short. So I don't think it'll be any easy rollover type game. And plus, we know how the Eagles have played this year at the Link, as you mentioned. They haven't yet won a game. Offensively, you're right. They have an identity, but they're also doing some things that are different that I want to talk about, and we'll get into it as we talk about the offense. First, as we tell you all the time, please get that advantage over your sportsbook. Download BetQL. It's the only app you'll need to make smart bets. They've got this computer model. It's a best bet model that scans over 350,000 unique bets a year that gives you a best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports, and it gives you the reason why you should make the bet. The model covers spreads, over-unders, player prop bets, everything. And if you don't want to use the model, if you're just a researcher, BetQL's got the necessary tools for that as well, with sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineup and injury, breaking news, even a leaderboards to track your success. So go to the App Store or the Google Play Store now. Download BetQL. There's also a website called try.betql.co/ITB. Enter the discount code ITB at payment checkout. You'll get 25% off the subscription offerings. And of course, make sure you check out their sportsbook offers page if you live in one of the eligible states to claim free offers upon signing up at one of the many sportsbooks listed. Don't miss out on the chance to beat your sportsbook this football season using BetQL. All right, one of the big things in our pregame show, and we all kind of agreed on this, that the Eagles could not, much like the last 2 weeks, just come, stick 2 or 3 tight ends on the line of scrimmage, go under center, even though that had worked, and just expect to be able to run the ball like that downhill against the Broncos defense that was 6th against the run. And Adam, they didn't do that at all. I mean, there were maybe like 5 or 6 snaps under center. I didn't count them, but they came out.
Shotgun.
Yeah, they came out in shotgun, but still deciding to run the ball. That was good.
Yeah. Look, earlier in the season when they were exclusively shotgun, how many times did we come on the show and say, why is Hurts pulling it out and throwing it? Hand the ball off or run it yourself. He still led them in carries in the game. He didn't lead them in yardage, but he had some nice runs, including a 31-yarder. So, look, we'll obviously get started with offense. Yeah. There's no question this balance is working. It's helping Hurts get into a rhythm. Their line is getting off. They are getting off. They're creating some space. I didn't write the time code down, but I loved it in the middle of the play. They have this, it was either late third, early fourth quarter. They have a really big run, and then Lane Johnson pumps his fist during the play.
Yeah.
When he got by him, he knew it was going to be a big run anyway. Right. I just thought it was great. They had it going on. They had Caverns running. And the thing about Jordan Howard is this. I'm sure he has, but I don't remember a negative run this season. He has been that good. What else can I tell you?
Yeah, 83 yards on 12. He even showed some of that. We noticed in training camp, Adam, we were talking about how he lost weight and was more athletic looking, which probably did him in Chicago. We knew that. He had put on a little bit too much pounds, and that's why Chicago wound up trading him. And then in Miami, he's even admitted he did not come back in shape. But you saw a couple of dynamic runs from him, including a 25-yarder. That just shows you that he is a different kind of runner. Now, I mean, he's still the big, powerful runner, but he's got a little bit more dynamics or athleticism to his game. And then, of course, I thought Boston Scott ran really well, too. I mean, are there times that they were just running through gaps that were big? Yes. But I thought both those guys ran hard after contact as well.
I mean, think about it. They ran for over 200 yards, well over 200 yards in this game. I mean, it was pretty fascinating. The one of Howard's runs, I think, was called the wind back. He went like if you're watching me on YouTube, he went right and then cut left. It was just beautiful. It's just beautiful design, great cutback.
Yeah.
It just the Sirianni called a tremendous game. I'm impressed with his play calling and his complementary football calling.
Yes.
He understands that you have to have a run game to help your quarterback out. It's working. Your quarterback also is getting to the edge now, because this is something that they weren't doing earlier in the season. We might run for the A or B gap and not get anywhere. Running to the edges, play action's working. I would have liked to have seen him under center, but you know what? And for whatever reason, they kept him generally in shotgun, but it worked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what we'll see, the Saints have a tremendous front. It's going to be hard. In fact, the Saints front is better than the Broncos front.
Mm-hmm.
They're better at linebacker, but the fact of the matter is, this was a very well planned out game. They really scored 30 points to me on offense. I know they scored 30 points in the game. Quez Watkins drops a great throw, big time NFL throw. That was driven, back foot, rolled his shoulder. That was a great throw by Hurts.
Yep.
I know the numbers aren't eye popping. That's not the point. He didn't have to. He only had to throw the ball 23 times because they were so good on offense by running the football. He made some great throws in this game. The Arizona game last year, it was more spectacular, more yardage, more big plays, but it was under control. And the other thing that's very underrated, I want to see what the coaching tape looks like. Just from TV and slowing it down on Verizon Files, there were easily 5 throws where the pocket was muddied, and he still completed it. That is super impressive for a guy who's not 6'5".
I agree with you. I thought he again showed. Now, there was one play that they highlighted where he left the pocket early because he had Jordan Howard in the flat. But for the most part, I mean, that's going to listen, as long as if he does that once or twice, but makes 5 or 6 good pocket throws, that's fine. And I do agree. There was a certain play where he hit, I think it was the one to Dallas Goedert, where Dallas Goedert wound up getting hurt, but he climbed the pocket on that throw, bought himself an extra second, and made a really nice throw. As far as running the ball and not going under center, I suspect that losing Dallas Goedert hurt that, because when they run under center, they usually put a tight end or two at the line of scrimmage. And, on the second or third play of the game, I saw Tyree Jackson kind of get blown up at the line. He's not a great blocker yet. I mean, he's only adequate anyway. And he's just getting his feet wet. So it probably dictated to them once Goddard went out that they had to run out of 11 personnel, which is better to just spread it out then, shotgun, get Denver spread out and try to run on them, which they did well. So that was impressive to show another element of their running game, to still be able to go downhill, even running out of 11 personnel, and not just what I called the quote unquote boring run game that we've seen where you just line it up and go at them. I also saw one great run I had to bring this up because I was the one saying like they just really just lined it up and run. They had a nice little misdirection run where the 2 guards pulled to the right, but I believe the ball went to Boston Scott over left tackle. So they showed a little misdirection in their running game. Oh, holy cow. Who is this Nick Sirianni?
Right. And my boy, Jack Stolpigeon, how good is he as a wide tight end? He's a good player, man. He
is a nice player.
He's known. It's funny. He was known as an athlete at Nebraska. And he's become this really good wide tight end. He edges really well. He's a good inline positional blocker. He's not dominant, but he does his job really well. That's why he's getting a lot of playing time. It's a good story. It's really good scouting by the Eagles on him.
Sure.
I like the game plan. I really do. And it's a shame Goddard got hurt. Hopefully the concussion he suffered isn't a bad one, but we'll learn as the week goes on whether he'll be available. Remember, Richard Rodgers is still in the practice squad, I believe, correct?
And Noah Togiai.
Okay. Yeah. So they'll have tight ends if he can't play.
Yep.
Another good thing, third downs were good. 6 of 13 is good. That's better than the league average. They just dominate time possession by about 9 minutes, almost 10 minutes. That's good. You like that?
By the way, they were 6 of 10 on third down going into the last 5 or 6 minutes. So they were most of the game. They were very good on third down.
Yeah. So again, offensively, they were good. As you said, specials. LA's having a good year. I wouldn't say good to very good. Is he being perfect? No, but he's been very good. The punters are good. He's a good Sipos. Is a very good punter. They're just it is interesting how the special teams have improved. The coverage teams, for the most part, are better. I don't have the stats in front of me, but just by the naked eye, they certainly are better. Oh, okay. Hurts, his pick was bad, but Gainwell missed the block on that. Gainwell missed the block, and that's why he got hit as he threw that ball.
Yep. Yep. And that's again why we talk about Gainwell and why he is what he is. He's their third back still, even with the injury to Miles Sanders. And by the way, man, when Miles Sanders comes back next week, woo, we'll see.
We'll see.
I mean, assuming that's true, I should say, assuming.
Right.
Although he tweeted on his one of his accounts, social media accounts, "I'm back," so I'm pretty sure he's ready to get going when they come back Wednesday. Yeah,
good. Okay. That's
one
and
thing
they
that stuck out.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
I want to bring up one thing that stuck out, and I can't wait to see the tape and then have us talk to personnel sources, because I think that there was something a little bit different in the passing game that stood out to me. First of all, you reported accurately that going back to Friday's pregame preview podcast, that Fangio was blitzing more recently than he had been earlier in the year, and more than he traditionally does. And that's obviously because he doesn't have Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, so you'd think you got to generate pressure. And so that was the book we talked about on the pregame show, that this offense was going to have to be aware of what Denver was going to do defensively to challenge them with the blitz. And not only the blitz, but if you noticed up front, they do a lot of twisting and stunting. They do a lot of, Fangio is a master of that stuff. And what stood out to me, and I really, really want to get this backed up by some people that we speak to from a personnel standpoint, I felt like a lot of their passes, their blitz beater passes, had built-in routes that were like hot routes or quick hitters that were specifically designed to get the ball to a certain player on a blitz, because that you would see the player come across the screen either on a shallow cross or in the flat and be wide open. I think that was a big part of their third down success, Adam. And I remember earlier in the year saying, there were a couple of blitzes that got home against the Eagles where you would see the routes being very vertical. And I would say, when there's a blitz, isn't the receiver supposed to just call the route off, turn around, and present himself in the zone or present himself in the open bubble? And I wasn't seeing that. But they were very prepared. I felt like, just watching going into this game, for when the Broncos were going to blitz, where were they going to attack that bubble in the coverage? And I thought that they did a fantastic job of that. So I give credit to that first and foremost to Sirianni, Patullo, the passing game people, and then of course to Hurts to execute it.
Yeah, the great way to frame it. I would say the marriage between the head coach and the quarterback was really good in this game. Execution was really good. Other than the pick, the block's got to be better, and Hurts needs to either throw it out of bounds. Obviously, he just didn't have the throw there. But offensively, they had it going on. It's too bad Goddard got hurt, because he could have had a big game there. He had 2 catches early in the first quarter.
Right.
And the first one, that was a long, that was one where, boy, I didn't think he was going to be able to get that. He got it, and Hurts hung in there. The protection for the most part was really good. It wasn't like he had to drop back very much, because they ran the ball incredibly well. Over 200 yards again. The Eagles are now one of the best running games in the National Football League. I never would have believed that before the season started.
Wouldn't have believed it 4 weeks into the season.
No, and doing without Miles Sanders, which is like, it just, I don't know what to say anymore. But other than their line is really, really good. I'm so fascinated to see if Sirianni sticks with it. I would say now he's done it for 3 games, because as you said at the top here, and you're absolutely right, this is no fake win here. This is a real win on the road, where it's not easy to win at Mile High. And they took the crowd out of it, just like the Raiders did. When they dominated at Mile High, they got on them early. The Eagles never trailed in this game. Denver came back after being down early. But the Eagles fought back, and that to me was a key. That absolutely was a key to me too. When Denver tied it up, can you figure out a way? And how about Devontae Smith's first touchdown catch?
How about it? First of all, how about the fact that he was wearing like what looked like night armor on his elbow? I mean, we saw him on the injury report with elbow, but I didn't realize that he was wearing a brace that big. I mean, he looked like a cyborg. He was defending himself against some kind of villainous war. But to be able to make that catch, by the way, that throw by Hurts was very, very risky. I mean, as I wrote on our InsideTheBirds.com piece, the only thing that could have been going through Hurts' mind is, I just trust my guy to make the play.
Yeah,
and obviously Devontae Smith made the play.
Yeah. So I would say, just to close this off, really efficient game for Hurts. He didn't have to throw for over 200 yards, because they didn't ask him to throw the ball out, because the run game was great.
Right.
He moved the ball downfield, made some big-time NFL throws. That pass to Watkins for an obvious touchdown was probably the best pass of his career. I can't think of one There was a great pass he had against Arizona on the right sideline. It was a timing throw, which was really good. But this was a big-time NFL throw. It's too bad Watkins dropped it. It's like you couldn't make it up. It's like, dude, you got to. It's like he catches. As someone said to me, the guy catches everything. Now he drops one.
Well, we have tried to figure out why Quez Watkins is not more involved in the offense, and maybe
I
that's
don't
we see that
know.
in practice.
No,
I don't know. I have no idea.
He deserves to get the ball more. You just can't drop. You just can't drop that.
No, you got to make that
but
play.
You gotta feel good about it, that they can hang in against good football teams. They've got this running game now. They've got a dominant offensive line. My goodness. Dickerson's an absolute stud. He is a stud. He's not perfect. He's really, really good.
He's a road grader. No doubt about that.
Yeah. Their pass pro is really good. It's not been perfect, but it's good. So you got to feel pretty good. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a meat grinder game against New Orleans, I think. I don't see it obviously being high scoring.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? You got a chance, because when you can run the ball like this, you give yourself a chance. No doubt.
No doubt. All right. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code ITB. Bet $1 on any NFL team to score, and you can win $100 in free bets. That's right. If the team scores, you score with promo code ITB this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Before we finish off the offense, I do want to – it's not that I want to be nitpicky. I just want to kind of project a little bit. Dallas Goedert went out, and the fact that they were able to continue – to move the chains really was a testament to how well Hurts was playing and how well they were running the ball. Hopefully he'll be back for the Saints game. We'll have to see. But this team really does have a lack of a number 2 target. Like when a guy like Goddard goes out, they're really, as you just mentioned, they're nickeling, diming, throwing to running backs a little bit. But I mean, between Quez and Jalen Reagor, I think just 3 or 4 catches. So I don't want to call that smoke and mirrors, but they're going to have to figure out as this season goes along, and we've talked about this anyway. They've got to figure out some ways to get guys the football who need the football. And when a guy like Goddard goes out, or heaven forbid Devontae Smith has to go out for a game or a half or something, they have to be able to move the chains through the air and get important catches from guys not named Devontae Smith or Dallas Goedert.
Great. You're 100% right. They got to get – Rager's had a really nice 12-yard catch, but he only got 2 targets. Negative run. Can't have that. Boston Scott on the screen game. Watkins is a guy that you just – okay, so he beat his man. He beat Surtain, didn't he? If I'm not mistaken.
Was it Surtain? I think it was Surtain, yeah.
Yeah. Who there were reports from Denver he wasn't going to play, and he wound up playing. He was just missed multiple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So give him credit for even playing. But you're right, because they don't have a dependable – it's a 2-man pass target group. It's Smith and it's Goddard, and that's really it.
Yep.
So now we don't know about Goddard. We'll have to see how he progresses through the protocol. But overall, this is a dominant game from their offense. They have underdeveloped pass targets. They need to, as you said, they need to get the guys more the ball more. But quarterback played very well. They got to feel very good about Hurts, and it's just if you're an Eagles fan, which you are, if you're watching this, I know there's some Denver fans who chimed in on our message board, but if you're an Eagles fan, you just got to feel good about this, and your QB played really well, and the running game is dominant. And how do you not feel good? How do you not have pep in your step on Monday?
I don't know. It's funny. Sometimes your best laid plans go to waste, right? I mean, I think if Vic Fangio could play this game all over again, he probably wouldn't blitz as much as he did early, because his blitz got torn apart. And you notice in the second half, he played way more zone, and the Eagles offense just wasn't as good. In fact, how many points did the Eagles score offensively in the second half? It was they got the Devontae Smith touchdown. That came that was in the second quarter. I'm sorry, his second touchdown. They really only had the defensive touchdown.
And they had a field goal. Right, they had a field goal in the fourth, but they didn't need to. Right. When you get up that big, you kind of lose your juice for the game.
Right. I think I saw that they only threw 3 passes after halftime, and Jalen completed one of them. He had the interception because he had to hold on to the ball a little more in the zone. Yeah. So you wonder if they replayed this game, if Vic would have just played a lot more zone, and how the game would have shaped up. And of course, the Saints are going to probably see that and make an adjustment. So there's some things that the Eagles can build off of here and also learn some lessons from.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm pretty fascinated by this transformation by this coaching staff to have them be a run game
Right.
team. That's their feet. Their identity is the run game. I needed to see one more. I did. That's it. Their identity must be running the football. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't mix it in the pass, which they did. I just
Right.
thought I liked the way that he mixed the passes in. This was just really good. It's just really good coaching by Sirianni. I'm become more of a fan of his. This team was prepared. They're growing pains, folks.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to accept. There are going to be times when they piss you off. We see on our message board on Facebook. My goodness gracious, the fans ripped them apart last week. And hey, look, they deserved it. The coaches,
Yeah, mostly Gannon, right?
Yeah, Gannon, right. But overall, it was funny because some people were. There were like I checked after the game. There were a couple people ripping the team in the second quarter. The linebacker play with some missed. Javonte Williams scored a touchdown. One of them was questionable, the holding calls, but anyway,
Yeah,
got called back, and people were like, "Oh, see, our linebackers suck." And in the end, though, they held their own when they held their own.
they absolutely did. I mean, look, Davion Taylor made a big play. As we get into the defense here, the one thing that I think we can say fairly is that I don't know that Jonathan Gannon did anything all that differently. He did play mostly zone, put some man in there, did some blitzing, just like he did last week. Didn't make any personnel changes. I'm seeing Marcus Epps on the field more, and I'm wondering if he is now the passing down safety with Anthony Harris as the run down safety. I'm gonna have to see how once the tape comes out how he was positioned, because he's been playing well and he's generally known more as a pass coverage guy than a run coverage guy. And Anthony Harris has just been playing okay. So, but for the most part, Jonathan Gannon didn't do anything differently. I thought they dominated in the trenches.
Yeah. Oh, their line was good. Look, did they get super pressure? No, but they got enough pressure. And Coach Sell said on our pregame show, he's so right. Teddy Bridgewater, he gets stuck. He said he gets stuck. Like, so okay, he takes the play from center, he drops back, and 2 seconds into the play, he doesn't know what he's doing with the football.
Yeah.
He holds
it's
it.
Not right there, he gets a little Wentzish, to be honest with you. You kind of like you see him get jittery a little bit. Yeah. Like, what do I do? And then he tries to wiggle out of it. Yeah.
So a couple observations. Slay is a really good football player. Really good. I mean, I don't know what. I mean, look, nobody's perfect. He's clearly one of the top corners in the league. He's just doing a good job. Maddox played through a knee injury, which he told us about when we interviewed him.
Yeah,
kudos to him
well too. He hit hard.
Look, he did. He did a good job. Barnett, two penalties. He has to understand on a roughing the passer, they will not let you take a running start. You're gonna get called for it when you leave your feet. You got to know better, man. You've been in the league long enough. It's just inexcusable, man. I don't. That clearly that's absolutely personal foul. Absolutely roughing the passer.
I agree with you. He drove him to the ground as he was hitting him, and obviously he got drawn offsides again deep in Eagles territory. And by the way, that one appeared to me to be a cadence adjustment by Bridgewater. I think he did the old Aaron Rodgers, and then got Barnett, which to me signals that, and it's pretty obvious that the book is out on Barnett. But now all of a sudden it's even more so because the quarterbacks are trying to easily get him to draw offsides with cadence adjustments. And I know they won the game and they're technically in the playoff race and all that, but at some point, if I'm the head coach, I look at this guy and I say, I'm getting net neutral play, right? He got me a sack.
More penalties than sacks.
yeah. And I don't know, does playing maybe Teron Jackson and Kerrigan more now and maybe reducing him to a situation. I don't even know if you reduce him to a situational pass rusher, because if he steps over the line on 3rd and 3, he's going to kill you. Like, I don't know what you do with this guy, but he's not going to be here next year.
Right.
But why do you have to play him? Is he that much better?
He's better than Teron. I mean, Teron Jackson had a nice play for his tackle. Definitely had a nice hit. He's just better than these other guys.
I guess.
Play,
exactly what I wrote. You don't want to hurt the rest of your team.
That's
disciplining this guy.
Yes.
But I'm just starting to wonder how productive he is for the rest of the team anyway.
I wouldn't mind. Look, I wouldn't mind him still getting more plays than the other guys, but reducing his snaps a little bit.
I might bench him for a quarter. You're not playing the first quarter next game.
Well, okay. I wanted that the first time we talked about this several weeks ago. Whatever knucklehead play he had, that's what I said. Why don't you not let him start or bench him for a quarter? Now that's the thing. would have been good if they did against the Lions, but until you get to the Washington or Giants part of the schedule, you don't have teams that you probably go in and should be able to beat.
Right.
They still got it. They have the Saints now. But it's definitely a winnable game. We don't know. By the way, Alvin Kamara didn't even practice this past week. We'll see if he's ready. Mark Ingram did a good job, but Trevor Siemian is sort of a game manager type. They don't really. The great thing about them is that the Saints is they don't have a big time receiver anymore. Michael Thomas is out for the season. He's a possession guy anyway.
Yep.
So there's some things here that do favor the Eagles. This is a pretty even game here at the Lincoln Sunday.
Yeah, the Saints have a really good defense. I mean, that's really kind of helped them stay in as they've lost Jameis Winston and had to rely on their other quarterbacks. I thought that they were going to wind up getting their tails kicked in for the last 2 weeks, and they've hung in there. Again, they've lost by 2 in each of the last 2 games. So this game will get pretty ugly. I think it'll be a muck it up type of game as we sit here today, a week before, and try to figure it out. But I'm again trying to figure out, what did Jonathan Gannon do so differently? To me, it was all about how the front four showed up. I mean, they showed up against the run. They put pressure on Bridgewater, and it just makes you wonder what, Bridgewater took a lot of 3-step drops just like Herbert did, but is it just the drop-off in quarterback play that enabled the Eagles defensive line to come and show up, or did the Eagles defensive line just finally, rise to the occasion like they should?
They did. Hargrave had some plays. Cox had some plays. Barnett, despite the 2 knucklehead plays, did have some positive plays. Sweat coming back helped against the run at times. They made some plays. They're a 5-man front with Avery as the add-in defender.
Right.
Davion Taylor had the two forced fumbles. One was major.
Was it 2? I didn't even realize there was a second one.
Oh, yeah, they recovered one for the touchdown. He actually had he was credited for 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. So overall, look, it was a better effort, but you're right in that it didn't look like they were doing anything drastic, where he definitely did something drastic last week. And don't forget, we said before the game the Broncos were out 3 offensive linemen. They were without 3 guys, both tackles and the right guard. Right. And they definitely had the better of it. Now, did they get a ton of pressure on Bridgewater? No, they got enough. And they won. Their Eagles D-line won versus the Broncos O-line.
Yeah, Hargrave really was the one who caused the Barnett sack. He pushed the center, Cushenberry. Is that his name?
Yes, Lloyd Cushenberry.
Yeah, I mean, he drove him back almost right in to Bridgewater on that play. And we had been talking about, it's been a while since we heard Hargrave's name after that really, really hot start. So that was good to me. So I don't know. I guess if everybody was going to, kill John Gannon for a few weeks, they should praise him, because I don't know how much differently he did. He just got his team to play a little bit better, a little tougher. They responded to the challenge. They still gave up a huge pass to a tight end that nobody's ever heard of, the Albert O guy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, week after week, whether it's who was the guy who filled in for Gronkowski from Tampa Bay? OJ. He was the first round pick, but he's done
OJ Howard.
Yeah, OJ Howard. And then last week it was the Parham Jr. and it was the Anderson guy. I mean, the Eagles somehow reinvent ways to give up really big plays to tight ends that most people have never heard of. But it didn't kill them too badly this time.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. The Albert O play was a run after the catch. I don't know if there was a blown coverage, but what I do wonder, it looked like the corners for the most part were off coverage. We'll need to get that confirmed, but the naked eye watching TV, it sure looked like that, which is generally what they do. Gannon said, look, they'll press occasionally, but as we said on the pregame show, Yvonne and Cosell talked about it. It's very clear that the corners feel way more comfortable playing off coverage. And obviously, and we know Gannon doesn't want to give up the big play. So overall, the defense, you got to feel pretty good about it. What the run defense has to be better. They had some alignment errors, but because they were up so big, they never did what they didn't want to do, is have Bridgewater throw the ball 36 times. That is not the way they want to play football. But guess what? Eagles dominated. They made a stop, made a strip. They got a fumble for a touchdown when they needed it.
Right.
Just a big play when they needed to turn the tide when Denver could have tied it. And you got to give them credit. This is a complete team victory. There's no doubt about it.
I tell you, Denver really, and not to take credit away from the Eagles, but they really hurt itself in the third quarter. The first drive was a blocked field goal. It shouldn't have even been a field goal. They had a touchdown, right? Javonte Williams got called back by the holding penalty. And then the next drive, they had another pretty bad penalty that backed them up. They wound up getting a field goal. And then the drive after that, it was probably their most impressive drive of the game until Melvin Gordon goes through the middle and fumbles. So, but again, look, Darius Slay picked it up and Davion Taylor caused it. So you give the Eagles credit. But again, it just kind of shows you that fine line between a close game that maybe the Eagles would have lost and a game that they were in control of for quite a while. All right, let's we'll wrap up some loose ends here. First, we're going to tell you to check out our friends at phlsportsnation.com, enhancing the fans' experience with their coverage of all Philadelphia sports teams for the fan, by the fan. That's their motto. So make sure you check them out at phlsportsnation.com and on Twitter at phlsportsnation. We'll pause real quick now for a word from our great sponsors, including our friends at Sky Motor Cars. And if you do happen to go into Sky Motor Cars out there in Westchester, PA, make sure you tell them Adam and Geoff sent you. All right, so we said we were not going to extrapolate, right? You win this game doesn't mean you're definitely going to win the next 3 or 4 or 4 or 5. But for the first time, you feel like the team – you know how you talked about the connective tissue on defense in one of your source gave you that kind of like the marriage between the pass rush and the coverage and vice versa. And I felt like
the run game and the pass game.
Right. Really and in general, in a bigger picture, when your defense and special teams come to play and your offense does that, you see the whole team-wide connective tissue thing going on there. I think this was their most complete win, even more so than Atlanta, because I thought it was a tougher team they had to do it against. And their backs were against the wall, having lost that last game the way they did.
Listen to this. After this 6 days, they play the Saints. After this game, they do not play a team with a winning record till week 18. The Cowboys, the last game of the year.
Right.
This is look. Is it the season if they lose this game? No. Is it the season if they win the game? No. But it does set things up really well for them if they can beat the Saints to have their first home victory of the season. And they beat them last year when Taysom Hill was the quarterback. So we'll see what Sean Payton does if he keeps Simeon in there. Simeon's 0-2. He's done a decent job. He hasn't really turned the ball over, but this is a signature win for this coaching staff.
Really, no doubt about it.
Players too.
So the Giants, they were off this week, so they'll come back. I mean, they won against the Raiders the last time they played, so that was kind of their signature win that shows that they potentially are turning some things around with their season. And of course, Washington goes and beats Tampa of all teams, right? And so Washington with their own signature win as well. And I don't know if that makes you look any differently at the division. I mean, the Giants have won 2 of their last 3 games, and the one they lost was to Kansas City 20-17. So they're clearly playing better. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, their defense is playing better. And here's the problem with the Giants. Next Monday night, they play at the Bucs. And I remember looking at the Giants' schedule like, man, the Eagles have a harder first half.
Right.
Listen to the Giants' schedule right now. At the Bucs, they're probably going to lose. Eagles at home, we'll see. At the Dolphins, have won 2 in a row. At the Chargers, difficult. Home against the Cowboys, difficult. At the Eagles, improved. At the Bears, not easy. Justin Fields has come off a great half of football. Eagles have a much better schedule, so Giants are in trouble.
Yeah, Giants are in trouble unless, of course, they beat the Bucs like Washington did, and then all of a sudden their season's looking a lot different.
Do it in Tampa, though. Do it in Tampa. See if they can do it in Tampa.
Got to do it in Tampa, of course. And as you mentioned, the tiebreakers would seemingly favor the Eagles because they've already beaten Carolina and Atlanta. So we will see. We'll have more. I don't think there were any major injuries other than Goddard being treated for a head injury there. I know Jason Kelce came out, but he went right back in. And was there anybody? Slay also had come out.
Slay went down twice. Yes, Slay. Yeah. Why the heck was he in late in the game? The game was over. He should not have been in the game. I thought that was a mistake.
That's a good point.
I didn't understand that. No. Well, there were times when a guy looked like he might have something, he'd come back in. And Kelce, if he should, did you notice he didn't want to be? He's like, no, nobody was messing with him. He was come back in because you saw him on his back.
Right.
It's almost like he's saying, "All right, give me a minute. Just give me a minute." Whatever he said, I could just tell he was like, "All right, I'm gonna get myself together here." He's still there on the sideline. and he was trying to get his wits back or whatever. He maybe just shut his body was. That's when you hit the ground hard, your body goes through a little bit of a shock. So
Yeah.
Out there for Herbig, and Herbig had the bad snap.
Yeah, he had the ground ball to shortstop there. So,
Yeah, exactly. So, but look, this was. We'll see who shows up with the injury report on Wednesday. That's their first injury report. But the bottom line is it's a pretty darn good win for a new coaching staff.
It is. We'll have a lot to talk about on the next pod. We will break down the game from a film review standpoint. We'll talk to some personnel sources, see what the Eagles did well, see if there's anything that they didn't do well that they were able to cover up, and then deliver more. And obviously the big news this week will be Miles Sanders, if he's able to come back and what kind of role he's going to play in the offense going forward. This man has to be licking his chops to get into this offense now. If anybody really thinks that the coaching staff hates Miles Sanders and they're going to start throwing the ball all around now so they don't have to give it to him, they're crazy. It's just they've made the adjustment they needed to make. The one thing you'll see, Adam, right, that we might see more from this running game now is the real explosion to it with Miles Sanders being able to hit those holes. And, you might see some home run plays instead of some 80-yard marches there.
And I like to see the screen game a little bit with Miles or whoever. Oh, and then tonight, by the way, we're back on the Fanatic, and we're back to 2 hours. The Sixers and Flyers are off. So give us a call. I'd love to hear from you. I know we get a couple calls from ITB listeners, but we're on from 6 to 8 Eastern. So love to hear from you.
Yeah, leave us a message, too, on our Facebook message group if you want us to ask or answer any questions on the show. We can bring it up. We'll read your name over the air, and we'll answer it there. If you can't make it in time to give us a call. If you do want to call, the number is, of course, 610-632-0975. We'll be on from 6 to 8 p.m. Inside the Birds Radio on 97.5 The Fanatic. What else did we want to plug? That's pretty much it. Oh, yeah, InsideTheBirds.com. Make sure you're checking that out. Every day we'll continue to update the website with fresh content, good stories. Adam will have his power rankings out on Tuesday, so I'm sure there'll be some movement there at the top Eagles. As there were a few upsets. Yeah, and then, of course, with the Eagles.
Where I move the Eagles. Will they make it inside the top 20? I got to think about that. I got to look.
Well, I can't wait for it to come out. And there's one more thing I want to. Oh, please continue to go leave us the reviews on Apple. Please give us 5-star reviews if you love ITB. Even if you hate the ITB, but give us a 5-star review anyway, just to be a contrarian, because it really helps us in the charts and the rankings.
We'll keep it free.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we would appreciate it. It keeps our show free, folks. This is sort of a work of love, as they say. We're not making a minute on this thing. It's just we're a emerging business here. We love your support. We appreciate it. The numbers are still good, man. No matter. That's the thing about Eagle fans. They're so supportive. No matter how bad the team is, the 4-6 losing record, they support us. They support the team, and we appreciate it.
As you said, a labor of love. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles Intel. Thank you, as always, to our producer, Hunter Brody. You can check out his work on YouTube. His channel is called Sports Talk with Broads. Check out his website, broadsmedia.com. And as always, we thank you for flying with us inside the bird.